Wildfires are a natural phenomena that allow ecosystems to renew and replenish themselves. Unfortunately, today, wildfires are burning longer and faster, with huge consequences for human society and our ever-warming world. Welcome to Bite-Sized Science presented by STEM Fellowship. Today, we're exploring the science of wildfires, their cause, spread, and environmental impact, as well as how they affect human societies and marginalized communities in particular. Wildfires are unplanned, uncontrolled burns in natural areas like forests or grasslands. Depending on the vegetation type affected, wildfires can be classified more specifically, for example, as a forest fire, bush fire, grass fire, or desert fire. Wildfires can occur naturally as a result of dry climate, lightning, and volcanic eruption. They can also be caused by humans, either accidentally or on purpose. These are called controlled or prescribed burns. Recently, global warming and climate change have also begun to play a larger part in these fires. Hotter and drier conditions, coupled with the enhanced drying of organic matter in forests, all contribute to increasing the risk of wildfires. These conditions also make fires harder to put out and aid the spread of highly resilient or adaptable species, many of which are invasive, like the mountain pine beetle. These beetles weaken or kill trees, which impacts habitats and the survival of native species. Wildfires spread based on the flammability of the materials that surround them. This includes trees, bushes, and grasses. The amount of flammable material that surrounds a fire is referred to as the fuel load. Fuel load is measured by the amount of available fuel per unit area, usually tons per acre. The higher the fuel load, the more intense the fire, and vice versa. Additionally, when fuel is dry, it is consumed much faster. There are three main weather conditions that affect wildfires. These are 1. Temperature. As higher temperatures allow for faster burning and intensity. This is why wildfires are most intense in the afternoon. 2. Wind. It supplies the fire with more oxygen, makes it more unpredictable, and aids the fire's progression, enabling it to move faster and engulf more land. Wind gusts may also raise the fires to the trees, creating a crown fire. 3. Moisture. Humidity and precipitation can slow the fire down and reduce its intensity. High levels of moisture, such as water vapors in the air, absorb the fire heat. On the other hand, droughts are favorable conditions for wildfires due to the dry climate. There are both positive and negative impacts of wildfires. Starting with the negatives, wildfires pose a threat to public health. Air pollution can result in a range of health issues, predominantly respiratory disease, and contributes to the acidification of water bodies. Additionally, particles and black carbon from forest fires can be carried via the air and enter water supplies. There are also economic impacts due to loss of tourism, infrastructure, restoration costs, and firefighter costs. This affects federal and state budgets. Wildfires produce excess greenhouse gases, including carbon dioxide, methane, and black carbon. This harms the natural environment. On a brighter note, let's take a look at the positives. These fires can also have restorative benefits. It allows new vegetation to grow. Some species even rely upon wildfires for propagation. For instance, the seeds of jack pines and lodgepole pines are sealed by a resinous bond, which can only be cracked open by the high temperatures associated with wildfires. Depending on the severity of the wildfire, a forest may recover quickly. The low-intensity prescribed or controlled fires add nutrients to the soil and rejuvenate plant life. For larger, more destructive wildfires, active efforts to assist recovery are often needed. These could include erosion prevention, as well as establishing vegetation through reseeding or replanting. What are some ways for us to diminish the damage done by wildfires in our communities? First of all, communities can advocate for smart development and wildfire resilience. This includes discouraging the expansion of residential areas in fire-prone areas, building responsibly and using fire-resistant structures, clearing out dead or organic matter in our property, and using equipment like grills and pyrotechnics properly. Individuals can also donate their time, money, resources, or shelter to supporting those affected by or dedicated to fighting wildfires. To really address the rising prevalence and severity of wildfires, we should also address a key causational factor: climate change. Meaningful climate action includes, but is in no way limited to, political action by citizens, sustainable renewable energy usage, and mindfully reducing the waste we generate. Though the consequences of wildfires can be widespread, the extent to which they directly impact individuals' quality of life remains highly disproportionate. Let's discuss the injustices of wildfires. Climate justice is tied to social justice because research shows that people of color are affected unequally by wildfires, and a census found that groups that were majority Black, Hispanic, or Indigenous were 50% more likely to be vulnerable to wildfires. So, why are certain groups of people hit harder than others by wildfires? Well, there are many different reasons that contribute to the injustice. Here are just a few. Physical risks. The neighborhoods are located in areas with less protection and resources to evacuate, and the areas are often low-lying. As well, they're located in areas more prone to wildfires. This is especially true for Indigenous groups of people who were forcibly relocated onto reservations. This also affects their ability to recover and adapt after a fire. Socioeconomic factors. An extreme event like a wildfire can be harder to deal with due to a lack of resources, language barriers, or a shortage of affordable housing and temporary shelters. And of course, climate change further increases the disparity that exists, as wildfires occur more often and at a greater scale. So, how can we combat this growing disparity and injustice? While the ultimate goal is to address the underlying social and economic issues that create disparities, we can help by optimizing the fire relief for communities hit harder by wildfires and allocating aid fairly according to need. Check out the resources in the description to learn more about this issue. Thanks for sticking to the end of the video. See you next time for another episode on Bite Size Science.